FM Akure. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Ondo State. Good morning, Akure. Good morning to your esteemed listener, wherever you're listening to us from. You're welcome to your mid-morning conversation program of the nation, Glow Focus. And of course, this morning, we're asking a question that makes politicians uncomfortable and citizens suspicious. Is Nigeria's National Assembly and our state houses of assembly truly independent, or are they just rubber stamps for the president and governors? When budgets pass in hours, when loan requests get approved without debate, when ministerial nominees are told to take a bow and go, many Nigerians say the legislature has no bite. But the same assembly has rejected the FCC nominees, killed controversial bills, and embarrassed ministers at public hearings. So what's the truth? Are our lawmakers checking the executive or just stamping whatever comes from Aso Rock and government houses? Of course, those are things we're looking at today on the program. And we'll have an analyst who will join us in the second part of the program. My name is Comfort or Molafe on behalf of my co-anchor.
Good morning, Nigeria. Many thanks for joining us on your mid-morning conversational program, Glow Focus. And of course, today we'll also look at various issues. Do not forget that we've got topical issues in focus for today, just like she said. And we will check headline stories and review issues in detail, just like we have them. Just to keep you abreast of the latest, random facts will come in history to refresh your minds as we make your morning much better. I've got some of them in front of me, but before then, we have to look at one or two things. Stay with us. tó gbọ́ mi kó gbọ́ létí nígbà tí mo sọ̀rọ̀ ìwọ náà gbọ́ nígbà tí mo sọ̀rọ̀ létí.
ó jáde kí ló sọ.
ẹ ṣe mi ò loud.
I don't get voice.
ó ní voice mi ò kò jáde.
kò jáde.
wọ́n gbọ́ níta ní corridor.
Yeah.
voice mi ò jáde ń ta ni?
Please try and monitor his voice.
Ṣé voice mi jáde? Àbẹ́ ẹ̀ sure?
So we're having our side conversation now, and then we launch the report. Or I launch the report first, then we come on our side conversation. Introduction, side conversation, after side conversation. This is the topic. Okay. Let's launch the topic. For my teeth, a big number.
Report.
Huh?
Ẹ bá wo
Ẹ jẹ́
report.
bá a sọ fún wọn pé report ni. Hold on.
Ṣé o ní ẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀?
Okay.
The peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1 FM. You're on to GF. Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational magazine show on 99.1 FM, Akure.
Many thanks for staying tuned. This is still Glow Focus on Glow 99.1 FM. In case you're just joining us, this is your mid-morning conversation program, and we did tell you earlier that today we are looking at Nigeria's National Assembly and our state houses of assembly, if they're actually independent or they're just rubber stamps for the president and governors. Let's go take a listen to this report. Let's join Ayoda Mokwe Ogunride. Please stay tuned.
Over the independence of Nigeria's legislative houses have once again come to the fore, as some stakeholders question whether lawmakers are effectively carrying out their oversight functions. Critics argue that both the National Assembly and the state houses of assembly often approve executive proposals with little resistance, raising fears that the principle of checks and balances may be weakening. Speaking on the issue, a media specialist and public affairs analyst, Adegbenro Adebanjo, said the legislature has failed in its oversight function, and this undermines democratic accountability.
It now makes those in the executive think that they can get away with anything. When you do not have proper check and balances, so many things will go wrong, even in the area of budget presentation, in the area of scrutinizing those who are appointed into offices, because most of these appointments have to go through the legislature for scrutiny. So at the end of the day, if we do not have a legislature that is performing its duty the way it should be performed, the society pays for it in terms of lack of infrastructure, and even we do not have democracy functioning effectively to the benefit of the people.
Adebanjo stressed that lawmakers must be seen to critically review policies and represent the interests of their constituents.
The main function of the legislature in any part of the world is what is called oversight function, to act as a check and balance on the activities and the functions of executives. But in this line, the line is so blurred. That is, hardly would you make a distinction between the executive and the legislature. So it is not just about not playing their roles, but not even acting their role. To the end that even in some UK, you will see the governor of a state being represented by the speaker at an activity under the guise of party loyalty. Because of that, it is becoming increasingly difficult, and it has become almost impossible for the legislature in this time to function effectively as a check and balance of the executive.
Another analyst, Henry Olonimoyo, said the legislature, especially the National Assembly, is a rubber stamp for the executive, advising the masses to exercise their rights.
The Senate President was on record saying that whatever Mr. President wants, that they will give him, because they believe that he has the good interest of the nation at heart. And the ease with which the executive has been able to get requests for loans granted, even without thorough scrutiny, it shows very clearly that this Senate is a rubber stamp one. Particularly also that the law, an alarm was raised that what the executive wanted to get was not what passed through the National Assembly, and the Senate did not stamp its foot on the ground, did not call for sanction from the executive, and they just flowed along with it, even for an offense that is impeachable. And the same thing also repeated itself during the procedure for the review of 2026 electoral law. So nothing can be more rubber stamp than this National Assembly. The people must understand the danger of having the rubber stamp National Assembly, and they must forthwith speak with their voice at the polls, and then reject senators and House of Rep members who will not speak the minds of people, and put in people who can speak for them. That's the ballot revolution. The law also gives people the ability to recall senators. It's never happened yet in the country where people can recall their representatives. It's never happened yet. We hope that one of these days, one of these constituencies will test that constitutional requirement.
As discussions continue, stakeholders say strengthening legislative independence and transparency will be key to deepening democracy and ensuring effective governance in Nigeria. Ayoda concerns over the independence of Nigeria's legislative houses.
The peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1 FM.
This is Random Facts.
So many things were running through my head that what if what we didn't plan for, actually happened? What would be the fate of the family of those persons? Can we just take it easy? Whatever we are rushing to, take it easy. It's better to arrive late and safe. Do not overspeed. And this also goes to Okada riders, not just drivers in probably tricycles or cars. Even Okada riders are guilty. Let's take it easy. Do not be in a rush and say no to overspeeding.
Well, one thing is certain. That thing is, safety at all time. Either, you're walking on the road, or sometimes you're the one behind the wheels and you're driving. We all have to find a way to keep safe and all of that. And just like you've said, sometimes those who are expected to enforce these things are, sometimes seen. And while they are seen, they're trying to calm people down to go at a speed. But see, are people aware, especially those who use the road, who are behind the wheels, either on a tricycle or bicycle, on bike or even vehicle? Do they even know the signs? Do they understand what they mean? Because there's a speed that you should be on if you're applying Arakale. It's one of the most dangerous places to drive very fast in Akure. You have to be very careful, and it's one of the places where you cannot maintain the double lane, all through. You just have to maintain the first lane, and if you have chance on the second lane, then you try, because of people who
Let's have conscience.
This is no joke. And if we do the needful on the road, first to preserve the life of road users, to preserve the life of the person behind the wheels, it will also preserve the lives of people in the environment, because maybe that's where we can even also tell people who sell at the roadside that you have to give a distance, because any vehicle or any bike or tricycle could lose their brake anytime and ram into any other place. So if you do business close to the road, you have to be very careful. That's it. And see, without punishing offenders, these things will continue to. So you have just given a cheat code to the state government in Ondo State now, that if you have an agency that takes care of this kind of enforcement, put the men out. People will complain, but you will sanitize the environment, because people will know that if you are going through Arakale or you are going through Obadeshida Road, there is a, you cannot go beyond 60, and when you do that and you are apprehended, you park the car, they impound it, and you pay. Simple. You apply the law. It's as simple as that. No emotions about this. We are talking about safety here. That's it.
All right, that's so much we can take on this. We'll move on now to the next
to the
segment.
papers.
Yes.
All right, Kukwan, let's start from Ondo State as well. We'd like to start from home most times, but let's look at what we have in the Hope newspaper. The headline reads, over 100 suspected kidnappers in custody. Aida Tiwa reveals, and it comes to the rider, moves to curb insecurity in Ondo communities. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aida Tiwa on Tuesday revealed that no fewer than 100 persons are currently being incarcerated in the state over kidnap offences. He, as such, reaffirmed his administration's resolve to stamp out insecurity in the communities like Imafo Igushi and Ilado in Akure North local government area of the state, even as he pledged decisive action against the criminal elements operating in the axis. The governor made the declaration during the familiarization and condolence visit to the palace of Olumafon of Imafon, Oba Samuel Adegbenbe and Liu, following a series of violent attacks that had left several residents dead and heightened fear within the communities. Expressing sympathy with the bereaved families, Aidatu assured that measures were already being intensified to restore calm and safeguard lives and property. According to the governor, more than 100 suspected kidnappers have been arrested, detained, and charged to court, while operations are ongoing to flush out criminal elements hiding in the forest enclaves. Well, we hope the governor would know that they don't just hide in the forest. Sometimes they are also, in town or other places as well. Let's look at some other stories this morning. In the Daily Trust newspaper, Tinubu commissions NRS headquarters says old tax laws impoverish Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu said yesterday that colonial era tax laws impoverish Nigerians through fragmentation, multiplicity, and inconsistencies, assuring that new reforms will deliver greater prosperity and inclusivity. He stated this on Tuesday during the commissioning of a 16-story Nigerian Revenue Service NRS headquarters in Abuja. Tinubu said the new tax laws, which became fully operational January this year, are designed to free the economy from constraint and enhance global competitiveness. That story can be seen in the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's also look at some of the stories that we have in the Punch newspaper this morning. On ADC convention, Mark Atiku Aregbesola tackled Tinubu on hardship in security. The embattled national chairman of the African Democratic Congress ADC, former Senate President David Mark, former Governor of Osun State Rauf Aregbesola, the ADC National Secretary, and other party leaders have declared that there would be no easy victory for President Bola Tinubu ahead of next general election. Speaking at the party's national convention themed "So That Nigeria May Work," held on Tuesday in Abuja, the ADC leader strongly criticized the Tinubu-led administration over the worsening insecurity and economic hardship in the country, insisting that Nigerians were facing unprecedented level of suffering. Other ADC leaders include former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former governors Peter Obi of Anambra State, Rotimi Amechi of Rivers State, who described the security situation as deteriorating, alleging that poverty has more than doubled under the president's administration. However, the faction of the ADC led by Nafiu Bala dismissed the Abuja convention, stating that their own bloc would hold a separate convention after the Supreme Court judgment. On April 1st, INEC announced the delisting of key ADC figures, including David Mark and Aregbesola, from its official register. The commission explained that the action was taken in compliance with a court order directing it to preserve the status quo pending the final determination of the case at the trial court. This has been seen in the Punch newspaper. There's been other stories too related to this particular matter. Let's tell you also that in the Vanguard newspaper, ADC dares court, INEC holds a convention. Democracy at risk, ADC won't bow to political pressure. According to David Mark, our convention valid, INEC failed its duty. That is coming from Aregbesola on the rider this morning. Let's also look at another political story in the Vanguard newspaper ahead of 2027. Intra-party clashes set stage for Lagos Assembly.
It is very feasible. The governor has security votes. The president intentionally increased the security votes of all the governors. So the governor of Ondo State has enough security votes to tackle insecurity in the state. To tackle insecurity in the state. You cannot live.
Yes, we have, we have more, to contend with, with the network, as he tries to. Well, we can take all the calls in the meantime. You can bear your thoughts. Of course, we have a comment on Facebook already. Jayi Olalekon Victor Bishop says, exactly, Mike. The violators of the traffic rule should be dealt with. There was a time an accident nearly occurred when a tipper violated the traffic rule and nearly collided with a tricycle that fateful day. Okay, there was almost a collision there, but thank God that didn't happen, because if it had happened, it would have actually claimed the life of those involved.
My brothers and sisters there.
Good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning.
Yes, what I said was the state, the governor has enough security votes to secure the state. And I also said the assembly should put pressure on the governor to come up with strategies to secure the state. The Amotekun is there. The Amotekun should be well equipped, well paid. The Amotekun, as we have in those State, can secure the state. You don't need
the electoral umpire taking, into cognizance that long before even the new ADC person started talking about it.
The court action was put into effect, and at that time, Aregbesola and the co had not formally recognized the INEC. Most in the process are not formally recognized. After it went to court, but the court did not do anything about it.
Okay, very quickly, Mr. Dibisa. Opposition figures have adopted ADC, as a coalition platform come 2027. Now, with this crisis rocking the ADC, is the party still viable as a third force? That's one. And secondly, I want you to also answer me if ADC, just in case, ADC can't resolve its leadership crisis come June 2026, should smaller parties merge into it or abandon it? What's your take on this?
ADC can still be a formidable opposition.
A third first.
ADC can still be a formidable opposition.
Okay.
ADC can still go ahead to present a presidential candidate. All APC needs to do is to solve this internal crisis. Look, all these people who are complaining, give them positions. They don't have to be leaders of the party. Give them a sense of belonging. Give them a sense of belonging.
Do a sharing formula across.
Pardon?
I said they should do a sharing formula across.
Exactly. This thing is simple. Don't take it all. Give them a sense of belonging. That will calm their nerves. They will cooperate with you. If I were in ADC, let me tell you what I would have advised our party members to do. I would have carried them all along since we entered, waiting for the Congress. At the Congress, you will install whoever you want to install as officers. All this noise wouldn't have arisen.
Okay, what if ADC can't resolve their crisis by June this year? That's in 2 months' time. Should smaller parties merge into it or just abandon the party? What's your take?
So, as we speak, there are 14 parties who have presented presidential candidates. 14. I believe that by the middle of the year, more parties will have presented presidential candidates.
All right.
What you may say that these other parties may not be as strong as ADC. I hope that ADC will solve their problems. But if they are unable to do so, it will be very unfortunate. But like I said earlier, the problem is not too complex. The problem is simple. The problem, or the way you need to solve the problem, is just sharing. Like Mike said, just share position. Carry everybody along. Give everybody a sense of belonging. And that will be the end of the problem.
Okay, Dr. Adebisi, before we let you go very quickly, what is this ADC crisis? What is it teaching us about our internal democracy in Nigerian parties?
The internal democracy in Nigeria is under threat. It's under threat. As we have seen in all the parties, it's under threat. And our people should be less selfish. They should be less
selfish.
Yes, less selfish. When you get into a party, for instance, if you have Global Party of Nigeria, everybody should be carried along.
All right. Before we let you go, sir, the security beefed up at JAMB examination centers. That is coming from the Nigerian police. Nigerian police force has deployed a rapid response team across examination centers nationwide ahead of 2026 unified tertiary matriculation examination conducted by JAMB. By the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board. Do you think the men in uniform in Nigeria are working assiduously to make sure that students are not caught in the web of insecurity in Nigeria? Do you have any confidence in all these arrangements?
Sincerely speaking, there is a threat to the security of these children. When you look at some hot spots, or what we call the flash spots in the country, my belief is that this flash spots, government should concentrate on them. Government can secure them. Sincerely speaking, government can secure them.
Right.
When you look at the flash spots, deploy security outfits to those flash spots, and then they'll be able to safeguard the students. It's not everywhere. As complex as Lagos is, you don't find skirmishes there. So it's not impossible. Where we have flash spots in Nigeria, deploy sufficient security officers there to secure the environment and secure the students who are writing exams. Yeah, that's what you should do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adebisi Aduloju. Let's hope that parents will release their words, and kids to go for the examination without the fear that anything could happen. Thank you very much for being part. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
My name is Tosia calling from Owo.
Please go ahead.
Firstly, I disagree with what your guest just said. There's more. They didn't take over in September. It's July. It was September that the other guy, Gombe, went to court. So if ANEC was there, even if you can read the ANEC through the ANEC affidavit in court, when Gombe sued them to court, ANEC lawyer was there. The ANEC process was there. What they said the ADC, the agricultural group took normal things. They even said they were there. They did normal channel. They said they were in their presence.
They supervised it.
They supervised it. They swore under oath that what they did was right. That was ANEC said. I know you have read the affidavit. It's online. So that's what I said is that you can't compare what happened in the PDP and ADC. No, there is no court in Nigeria that said ADC should not hold their convention. You don't to start code antebellum does not mean to hold their convention. Even yesterday, they said you don't to start what the court says they should go to start those. That translate they should hold their convention. There is no court in Nigeria that said ADC should not hold their convention. It's therefore what told PDP that they should not hold their convention. So we should not be relating to. We should not try to confuse Nigerians.
You mean those are two different things?
Thank you. It's two different things. So they should not confuse Nigeria. No court in Nigeria said they should not hold their convention. Please.
All right. Thank you very much for calling the radio station. And of course, that was Mr. Debisi Aderoju on the phone as he gave his, insights on some of the stories that we've read. And of course, you can leave us comments on Facebook. We'll definitely read those comments. All right, we have another caller now. Hello, good morning.
Please don't be annoyed.
You're welcome.
Our guest is political in his statement. He shouldn't come and bamboozle us. We're all in Nigeria. Because his party is now on the throne, it shouldn't mean that he should come and bamboozle Nigeria. We know what is going on. They should leave opposition alone to thrive. God bless you.
Thank you very much for your comments. That's how much we can take. We'll flip on to the next segment of the program. We'll bring in our analyst, a legal luminary, and of course the public affairs analyst, Segun Akure, who will be doing justice to the issue of discourse for today. Nigeria's legislative houses as rubber stamps, true or false. You can also be part of the conversation. That's after our analyst must have given us his take on the focus for today. Please stay tuned.
And reduce international engagements for urgent and visible improvements in the country's security architecture.
There are certain global world powers that are well recognized. The US is one of them, UK, France, Germany, Canada, all of those countries. By the time they speak favorably about any country, that naturally pushes up the image of such country around the world. Same way, conversely, if you look at the flip side of this scenario, once all of these global powers, if they speak negatively about your country, it brings damning effect. It pours cold water on everything positive that your country is trying to achieve. Investors generally look at those indicators for them to be able to relate with any country.
In a similar vein, another analyst, Sambelu, emphasized that the development highlights persistent security challenges in parts of the country, urging the government to take proactive steps to address the root causes of insecurity, including unemployment, poverty, and weak law enforcement structures.
The US directive to close its embassy at Abuja and listing other states as states that are not safe actually tells a whole lot about the security architecture of this country and how well the security architecture is not well structured and things aren't actually working as they should work. And this is to tell you that the government has failed in providing accurate security for its citizens.
Analysts agree that while the adverse rule may have diplomatic and economic implications, it also presents an opportunity for Nigeria to reassess its internal security structures and rebuild confidence both locally and internationally. Ayodamo Ogunide, reporter for Blue FM.
is Random Facts.
Jackpot is rising because people seek better jobs and living conditions abroad. Mount Everest grows yearly because tectonic plates push it upwards. Water expands when it freezes because molecules form a less dense
such advisory do not know often over the independence of Nigeria's legislature.
The peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1
This
FM.
is Random.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's the second segment on Glow Focus, where we bring in our analysts to dissect the focus for today. And today, of course, we are looking at Nigeria's legislative houses as rubber stamps. True or false? Those are the things we'll be looking at today. And we're asking lots of questions that make politicians uncomfortable and citizens suspicious. Is Nigeria's National Assembly and our state houses of assembly truly independent, or are they just rubber stamps for the president and governors? When budgets pass in hours, when loan requests get approved without debate, when ministerial nominees are told to take a bow and go, many Nigerians say the legislature has no bite. But the same assembly has rejected EFCC nominees, killed controversial bills, and embarrassed ministers at public hearings. So what's the truth? Are lawmakers checking the executive or just stamping whatever comes from Aso Rock and Government House? Joining us to dissect this focus for today on Glow Focus is our own analyst, a veteran journalist, a media executive, Akure Abodude, and a legal luminary, yes, and a public affairs analyst, Akure Dolu, Shegun Akure Dolu. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for accepting to talk to us on Glow Focus this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so very quickly, first and first.
Thank you, Comfort, for having me on the program, and thank you, Glow FM, for the opportunity to contribute to national discourse. And I want to also welcome my Oga.
Okay.
For quite some time, and I've seen him on TV, and I'm very proud of him.
And now you are both on it.
Thank you.
Okay, so very quickly, let's dive into the question, and of course, for the focus of the day, I want to ask you: do you agree with this term that our own legislative that they are rubber stamp? Do you agree with that? Is it true or false? Dr. Akure Dolu, you have the floor first.
Thank you very much. First of all, it depends on who is talking and what the party that is speaking is talking about. If the opposition is speaking in Nigeria today, there's every likelihood and tendency that they want to describe this present Senate as a rubber stamp. And the argument is, when they passed the national, the bill or the law that changed the National Assembly, it took them less than 24 hours to do that. talking about executive bill for taxation and all that, they approved what was sent to them, and especially when they talk about loans. That when the federal government was going to take loans, all they have to do is to bring the loan to the National Assembly without looking, without examining that they approve this. That is the argument they're going to make. But as you rightly observe, Comfort, that there are situations where list of ministers were sent to the state Senate, state National Assembly, and they did not only do thorough investigation, questioning, and all that actually rejected some people. They rejected this particular Senate or this particular National Assembly. I think they call it the what assembly now, have rejected so many views, have rejected so many appointments, have questioned so many agencies of federal government. And if we are looking at this for that part, we want to look at it and say, well, maybe they are not as global staff as people want us to believe. That's the views of the pedestrian. But if to me, now we begin to look at it that what is National Assembly? What is that thing? The duty of National Assembly is to, one, review the actions of the executive, to make laws, to review laws, to supervise agency of the federal government, and to also perform some approving duties as legislature. And when you also look at it from another perspective, you will discover that they're supposed to be the third arm of the government, and in real sense of it, to also be the government, and not the opposition. That explains why most of the time, even in all the nations of the world, including the United States of America, that we look at as the standard of democracy. Even in the United Kingdom, where they operate what's it called, a kind of democracy, that is different from what we practice in Nigeria. But then you also have them, despite the fact that what's it called now, the government. They also have the assembly or national assembly or lawmaking body that emphasizes executive power. Even at that, there are also different parties in the House of the Lord. And what they do, all of them, is that they scrutinize. They look at the law. They look at the government proposal. They look at what everybody is bringing there for the benefit of Nigeria, and they act independently. Having said that, there is also another very cardinal principle of democracy that we all put into consideration. They are not going there to fight. They are not there to cause trouble. They are not there to oppose or to get everything that the federal, the executive government is sponsoring or taking to the house. And don't forget, it's not only the government that also send bills to the National Assembly. Sometimes private individuals, private organizations, civil society, and other bodies too, they send bills to the National Assembly to be considered for passage into law. In that essence, I don't think anybody has said when these private bills are passed that the National Assembly are rubber-stamping authority or legislation. What I'm trying to say is this, that yes, they might have done some things that everybody wants to look at it and look at them as suspicious. But let me tell you how this is operating. The majority in the National Assembly, both the Senate and the House of Representation, they are they are in APC. And before the president will take any decision. He will call the head of the houses together. They will sit down. They will look at it. They will understand the importance and the purpose of that action that wanted to be taken before it's even taken and tendered in the house. We have minority leaders and we have majority leaders. Most of the laws that are passed or most of the decisions that are taken, they are sponsored or they are introduced by the majority leaders. The minority leaders also have their right to object or to oppose to whatever they want to do. When the minority have refused to oppose or to object to those bills or to those decisions that are to be taken, and the majority, I mean, 1/3, 2/3, in most of the case, have decided that that thing is right, then what is the need? Wasting time and trying to bring it out of it. Now, let's come back to this issue of National Electoral Act that was passed in February 2026 this year. The National Assembly is made up of the House of Reps and the Senate. The House of Reps passed a version of the bill that was sent to the Senate. When it got to the Senate deliberately tampered and tinkered with section 60, I think of section 5 now of that law that deliberates or that try to introduce mandatory electronic transmission of results. But the Senate looked at it and said, no, that is not necessary. And if you look at 2022 Act, the same provision of the law was not there. But what the law there said was that it gave power to the National Electoral Commission to communicate or to transmit the results from the ward to the polling center using any means or by any electrical media that may, or technology that our device. I remember that was the word used, device that may be adopted. But in this case, they introduced that mandatorily. I mean, the version of the bill from House of Assembly now, from my House of Representation now, that results must be transferred to the IREF in real time. And when you go to the Senate, they look at it, deliberated on this for more than 3 days, and come up with the idea that no, that should not be. And they removed that electronic transmission, that is subsection 5 of section 60. Now people demonstrated, people protested, a lot of things happened. Nigerians said no, that they want that provision to be in the law. And Senate again reversed that decision they earlier had, I think on the 12th. They sat down, 12th of February, they sat down now, they look at it, they consider the opinion of the people and the sentiment and the emotion of the people in the society, and they said, okay, let's introduce this section. They introduced the same, but they provided a proviso that in any case, for whatever reason, that this electronic transmission is not possible, visible, or is unable to function, that the results will be recorded in Form E8A, and the result, I mean, the hard copy now, the document will be signed by every party or party agent or contestant. And the same will now be sent to IREF. But in all cases, the hard copy of that is as good as the one that is sent to IREF. That was the position. Now, we say in good conscience that kind of National Assembly is Robert Assembly. If you ask me, I will tell you objectively now, looking from a different perspective, I would say no. Now, let's come back to the issue of the vehicle that was purchased by the National Assembly. All these parties, APC, NLP, Labour Party,
and others.
I think 3 others, they were there. All of them, they agreed that the vehicle should be bought for them at a given price. Nobody objected. Now, are you telling me that that also is a Robert Assembly? I will ask you is no. So, everybody is describing and talking about this depending on their interest and where their political interest lies.
All right. In a nutshell, you are saying Nigeria's legislative houses are not rubber stamps, right?
They are not. They are not.
Okay. That brings me to our analyst here, our in-house analyst, a veteran journalist. He doesn't like me to call him that, but I will call him that. It is what it is, and of course, a media executive.
It is what it is.
Okay.
I've been seeing Oga now for I think about 20 years or 25 years.
Wow.
I think that is not veteran. That is veteran. That's not the veteran. That is authoritative and authority.
Exactly. Thank you for echoing that with me. So to you, Akure Abodode, what exactly does rubber stamp legislature means in a presidential democracy like ours?
Once again, Comfort and Mike, thank you very much for having me. Let me also thank my brother and friend, Dr. Segun Akeredolu. Thank you for your kind words, and also thank you for your analysis. I'll take it straight from something that Dr. Akeredolu just said, and that is the Electoral Act amendment, which just happened a short while ago. Truth be told, let me respectfully disagree with Dr. Akeredolu a bit on what happened or what transpired, because if Nigerians had not risen, if protesters, high-profile citizens of the country, had not protested to the National Assembly, calling for another look at the Electoral Act amendment, which they did, the National Assembly would have gone ahead with what it did initially, which very many Nigerians were dissatisfied about. So, to that extent, I don't think that the National Assembly was too honorable in dealing with the Electoral Act amendment. Also, having said that, let me now go to an incident that happened yesterday. And I'm talking of all of this because Since 1999, Nigerian journalists have been terribly worried, especially since 2000. After the return to democracy, Nigerian journalists particularly have been very worried about the conduct of the National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly. Yes, the National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly, as said by Dr. Akure Lulu, are arms of government. Okay, because they are also supposed to support government to actually bring democracy dividends to the people. However, how they do that is another kettle of fish entirely. No one is asking the assemblies to fight the executive. No. The main responsibility of the legislature are just basically two. One, to do oversight. Two, to pass laws. Are the assemblies doing this? My answer is no. Because yes,
they're not doing both.
They're not doing both, and I will tell you.
Laws have been passed.
Oh, which laws? How many of those laws are private member bills? How many private member bills? Don't even talk about most. How many private member bills have been passed by any of the legislative houses in Nigeria? That's the one. Secondly, you see, the truth of the matter is that most of the bills passed are executive bills, and it shows lack of seriousness on the part of the legislators. Because it means that they are not dealing with the issues in their constituency.
It means they themselves are not originating the matters to put a bill on.
Exactly the point.
It is what the executive thinks about that you are compelled to go and...
For instance, I do not think the present 10th National Assembly has passed more than 5 private member bills. So how do you describe
all other bills have been forwarded to them?
But they are executive bills forwarded by the presidency and all of that. And that tells you the quality of men and women in the National Assembly. That's one on the one hand. Then let's go to oversight. The truth is this. You do not see serious work on the part of the legislators. Why? Because if there was serious work, we won't still be operating the 2024 budget. Now, so what happened to the 2025 budget? If there was serious work, if the various committees, if the various standing committees of the National Assembly and the state assemblies had been doing their jobs, would we be talking of infrastructural deficit in states and the country? The answer is no. So it tells you how unserious these assemblies are. And we have looked, unfortunately, what the assemblies are more concerned about now are constituency projects. As if they are executives. As if it's the job of the
executives are supposed to be out commissioning projects that they have done.
It's the job of the executive to do projects and and implement programs. It is the job of the legislature to make sure that these projects in the budget
oversight duties.
That's it. Are they doing it? The answer is no. Now let me share something that happened with you yesterday. I was watching it and I was moved to tears yesterday. The Nigerian Revenue Service headquarters was commissioned in Abuja yesterday, and the president attended. First of all, how be it that it was the Senate president who would invite the president of the country to speak? That's an anomaly. When he was speaking also, he said so many things about the president. You who is supposed to do oversight on the activities of the executive, you're already praising him.
He was extolling his...
he said that there has been no president in the history of this country like Bola Tinubu. Even if it is true,
it might just be a speech, a line of respect to us.
It was not a line of respect. He went on and on. He went to the extent of saying that, you see, Nigerians, if people don't get pregnant, they will blame Tinubu. If the rain does not fall, that the rain began to fall early in the year, they blame Tinubu. What kind of joke is that?
Are you saying the Senate president does not know his primary duties?
He went off the cuff And that shows the kind of the quality. And when the president was also going to speak, now look at this. When the president was going to speak, he made a joke. He said, well, Senate President Godwin Akpabio is a very good man, and that in fact he's thinking of sending Akpabio to the opposition party to go and disrupt the opposition.
At a public function, not a political party, at a state function.
Exactly my point. While I agree that there should be good relationship between the executive and the legislature, I'm not asking them to be fighting. There's no point to be fighting. But make sure that the job is done.
You mean you're asking for a checkmate?
Look, it's not even a checkmate. It's just to assure Nigerians that their monies are being spent properly, their commonwealth. So the thing is this: there are too many, and honestly, speak to legislators in this country and tell them to do a proper critique of their various executives. You will hear what they will tell you privately. But when it comes to doing the job, they cannot.
Let's go now to Dr.
Then how many lawmakers have constituency office? It is mandatory as a lawmaker
to have it.
Yes,
because that's the point. That's the meeting point.
Exactly. How many? Do you know the comfort? The legislator in your representing your constituency? Where is this constituency? Mike, the one representing Dayo, the one representing Dejavu, the one representing. Do you know their constituency offices? You do.
People at least see those. Except now that towards general elections, now you can see them come down to mobilize
directed offices.
Because primaries are going to hold in April/May. They're all back.
So they come back to base.
Come back to lie again. You see, so these are the problems.
Let's go to Dr. Shegun Akeredolu. Doctor, are you there?
Dr. Akeredolu, are you there?
All right. I actually want to ask you, is the same carpet politics, has it weakened, the role of both sides? The fact that, some lawmakers happen to be in the same party with the major executive, the president, and others who are leading the country, does it weaken, their duties? Because in Ogun State now, it is a one party assembly. We confirmed that again yesterday. I mean, the same carpet complicates this function.
I tend to agree with you that especially this idea of cross carpeting is something that is not very good for our political system in Nigeria. And let me borrow the sentiment of the late governor of Ondo State, Akure of President's memory. He always say one thing then, that I don't subscribe. He will say that he, as a governor, who did not support or subscribe to somebody leaving his political party to another party for whatever reason. He said, stay in your political party, correct whatever anomaly that is there, make your political parties variable and visible, and go ahead and win the election. That's what he said. That's what I believe. Having said all that, and I would like to correct some impression that my Oga has made about the number of laws the National Assembly make. Go and check anywhere in the world. Go and check United States of America. Go and check Indian. Go and check UK. Go and check some other countries. You just don't wake up one day and introduce a new law to any system. That you make law unless when it's necessary to make law. For example, all these preferity, let me use that strict language, and all those
show-offs,
noise and everything that follows our electoral act. I did an article on it, though it has not been published. I've submitted it for publication. And I checked everything that was done there. The paragraphs of the section of the electoral act that was changed were less than 20. No, we're not even up to 10 in real sense of it, except obsessions and the offenses that some they caused the price or the fine were increased. Some were deleted and all that. That is not good enough for an amendment. It's for alteration of a whole law or for repealing of a whole law. A simple amendment or alteration we have done. They wasted so much money, so much time, so much noise, so much tension on just instead of amending. I mean, when you amend the law, you just change 1, 2, 3 clauses out of it. or sessions. You think I will change to bring one thing in, you increase one, or you reduce one. What that's all they ought to do. What am I saying? What I'm saying is Nigeria, we have too much law already. That I don't even think there's a room for any new law, at least for now. See, when they altered a police act to when they what they did another one, I repeat the one that was in existence before. I look at it, what new things was introduced to that? Almost nothing. And when they also did what you call the Company and Allied Matters Act, the CAC Act, that one was genuine because it brought new innovation into that. When they amended the arbitration and conciliation law, it was also a big deal because they introduced a lot of things. But every other one that has been amended in recent times is nothing. It's not the duty. You don't wake up one day and begin to make laws. Sir, I want to say, the number of laws we have in Nigeria, I don't even think they have it in the United States of America. Let me give you an example. In economic and economic and financial crime in Nigeria, we have about 8 laws that deal with this same subject matter, and they are still passing out that one. They are cleaning up for what? That is not how lawmaking operates. United States of America till today, they have their constitution. They have been using right of discretion till now. What do? They amend assigned demand. They have fourth alteration, second alteration. I think the alteration they have now is 18 or 11th alteration. But in Nigeria, we have more than 5 constitutions. It's because of. I think the problem is you have a lot of misconception. Nigerians, even the educated and even the lawyer, I'm sorry about this, even in the lawyer community, we don't have the real importance of or the duties of National Assembly. Most of the things we are calling them for example, what they call constituency allowance. Constituency allowance for what? Constitutional development for what? That should be the duty of the school. The duty of the legislature is one, as Oga has rightly said, one, to make law when necessary to make law.
Legislate.
And I think the basic and major law they should make is a big budgetary bill. It's the only law they pass from year to year because every time you must pass the budget of the nation, and once the budget is passed, it becomes the law. That's what they do every year. It's not every that you are meant all that. Please let me quickly say this. Yes, cross carpeting to me is no. I believe it's very wrong. If you want to meet your party, go and contest election under party and come in.
Well, definitely come back to
majority.
Okay. I'll definitely come back to that budgeting of a thing because as of this morning, Ekabweze is saying that over 56,000 abandoned projects have been exposed as flaws in budgeting. And who does budgeting basically, and who passes budget? You just said it. Now we'll come back to that. Comfort has a question for you.
All right, so very quickly, Dr. Akure, based on what you have said, I'm going to ask you these questions. How do we then measure legislative independence? Is it by bills rejected, hearings held, or something else? That's one. And then 2, in your own study of the 4th to 10th Assembly that we are in now, which one of them is most independent? And what's your take on this? What do you have to back this up?
Before Dr. Akere answers that question, let me respond to something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, well, we do.
Dr. Akere, let me respond to something you said earlier.
Okay.
I cannot hear you very well.
Can you hear us now? Can you hear us?
The thing is seems coming somehow.
Okay, let me respond to something he said.
Can you hear us now?
Okay, I can hear you better now.
Okay, before you respond to the question that Comfort just asked you, let me respond to something you said earlier about the laws in this country. Nobody is saying that legislators should pass more laws. We have too many laws. I agree with you. As a matter of fact, my opinion is that the real problem with our laws is implementation of the laws. Our laws
are just there.
Our laws are just there. They're not being implemented.
They're not there. Thank you very
exactly.
much.
But the point I was making was that, look, the job of these legislators, one of their responsibilities is to come up with private member bills. Private member bills are supposed to advance the causes of their communities, the constituencies they represent. They are supposed to actually push the challenges of their constituencies for national discourse and action. But most of them don't do this because if you look at the sittings of the National Assembly, the plenaries of the National Assembly and the state assemblies, you hardly find very many legislators attending. So how are they even supposed to be part of the conversation that will drive development?
Last year, a certain senator, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, complained a lot about the plight of our community and constituency members.
But Natasha,
and she made it look as if she was not heard by our people in the assembly. And all of that.
Natasha is just one lawmaker that has decided to be different. But let's allow Dr. Akure Dolu to answer the questions you just asked.
Okay, Dr.
I just needed to make that
clarify
point.
that. Okay, Dr. Akure Dolu, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you.
So, did you get? Can I retake the question again? Should I do that?
Please repeat the question.
Okay, so based on what you have said, the answers, analysis you've given us this morning, I want to ask you, how do we then measure legislative independence? Is it by bills rejected? Is it by the hearings held, or something else? That's one. Then two, in your own study of the 1st to 10th assembly that we are in now, which one is most independent? I want you to give us reasons, to back your points up.
Now, I will not really want to say which one is more independent or which one is more. I think the question should be which one was more visible. And if you ask me that, I will tell you that it was so far so good. The one we had that was so very visible was the one under the leadership of Olusola Saraki, Dr. Olusola Saraki, Senator Olusola Saraki.
I was going to ask that.
And the reason for that was not far-fetched. He became the Senate president without the approval of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that was Buhari. And a lot of issues, I don't forget that it was under that administration. I think we have Senator Dino Melaye and all that, and all of them, they were there, and a lot of things happened in Nigeria. There was a lot of disagreement, there was a lot of fighting, a lot of arguments. But then go and check. You discover that almost everything the presidency wanted then passed through. Now, again, now this issue at a point that we have, I think, one particular senator from PDP then, very smart and very soft-spoken, but very intelligent senator like that. Now, every time he asked questions, it was the senator that asked the question of about technical justice in Nigeria, and I don't want to speak about that. But remember what that one actually thrown up in Nigeria, and a lot of things that happened thereafter. That was a very loud National Assembly. Now, if you ask me to compare the last, the fifth, between the
from
9th
the 4th
and the 10th.
Hello? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, the one that was under the leadership of the Senate president then, what's his name now? I think Lawal.
Ahmed Lawan.
Yes, and the one we have now under Fabio. Well, are we want to say that you don't judge them by what you read from the press or the reaction of the opposition, but rather we judge them by the kind of development of the new thing they've done or they introduced or that was introduced to Nigeria under their tenure. Let me look at it in this way. Under the past Senate, I don't think there was anything that was substantially different from what they did, except that by July 30th, they refused to renew the subsidy clause that was in that budget. And that when Tinubu was coming on board, he announced that what's it called now, that subsidy was gone. And that changed a lot of things in Nigeria. Now, under this Senate, a lot of things that have never been done before have been introduced. Let me give you some of them. We have the Police Act, the new one that was passed. We have I think, I'm not very sure now whether it was this Senate that passed the CAC Act, but I know they introduced student budget. They introduced a lot of physical projects to the budget of 2024. They did all these things, but a lot of Nigerians, they don't talk about that. They also passed the tax, the new tax regime that also made it so very possible now that even when you are importing food, agricultural products in Nigeria, you don't have to pay tax again. Educational materials, you don't pay tax. Even when you are not earning up to 10 million naira in a year, you don't pass, you don't pay tax. That's why a lot of civil servants now, they don't even pay anything as tax because they are not earning up to, I think, 10 million naira per annum as in their basic salary. And a lot of new dollar things, but people are not talking about. in Ondo State today, at the same time, we have about 4 road projects that are going on concurrently. We have one in Okitipupa area. We have one at Adoto Ikere. We have one, I think, Akure to Owo. We have, and all these things, they are the functions of budget and budgetary procedure, lobbying by the senators from Ondo State. But a lot of people will tell you, oh, they've not done anything, they don't have anything, they're not giving people money and all that. But we are not looking at the bigger picture. And even all these things are what you use to score the performance of the National Assembly, and not the reaction of the people or the noise that people are making. The United States of America, for example, and I keep going to the United States of America because I think they have, we copy our template.
We have a similar thing.
Them. There was a time the Senate president and the president of the United States of America, they are enemies. They are sworn enemies. The American president was throwing shade at the and the speaker also at the point was also replied and all that. It hit up democracy. And what was the fault for that? Nothing. I think what is important is what contributions have been made to the life of the people. Now you understand it when you begin to look at what are the different things they've done that have never been done before. And if you ask me, I think the Senate actually passed a lot of these that have never been passed before.
All right. In May 2023, former late President Muhammadu Buhari described the Ninth National Assembly as one of the most productive in history of the legislature in Nigeria. And of course, I guess he did that because it was also his era. As of this morning, he came out in the news that more than 56,000 abandoned projects have been exposed as flaws in national budgeting. That's what's said by Akabueze, former Director General of the Budget Office. Ben Akabueze says over 56,000 abandoned projects across Nigeria reflects a deep flaw in the country's budgeting system. Does this not, indict lawmakers in Nigeria? Let's start with Mr. Akime about it. Does that not indict lawmakers in Nigeria if you have 56,000 abandoned projects?
Well, the issue speaks for itself. If the job of the National Assembly and the state assemblies is to do oversight, then you wonder how 56,000 projects are abandoned. I understand Dr. Akure Dolu's sentiments, but the truth be told, if I have capacity to do 10 things and I do one, the fact is that I've done one. But have I performed up to expectation? Have I scored a good? Do I have a good
Not
score?
Optimal.
That's the question we must ask. Are the legislators really doing what they ought to be doing? But more importantly, you would realize a trend in states, and I want to use states as examples.
Okay.
You discover that somehow the governors usually have their way to make sure that most members of the state assemblies are in their party.
Or do their bidding.
No, in their party.
Okay.
The first thing is to make sure that
they belong.
They belong to the party. That way, it is easy to hoodwink them. It's the same problem we have with our local governments. In fact, the one for local governments is another kettle of fish entirely, because I subscribe to the proposal that state independent electoral commissions should be scrapped.
Because all they do is to superintend over the personal will of whoever is in charge at the state.
Exactly. Then, you see, we must understand that the business of oversight means a lot to the citizens. It's like if a father ensuring that his children, as a matter of fact, in my view, the legislature is supposed to be more important than the executive.
Like the mother of the house.
Because the job of the legislature is to make sure that things are done properly. It's only when things are done properly. So there's no way that the legislature can be hobnobbing with the executive recklessly, like I saw on television yesterday.
You think that was too much romance?
I think that was reckless. Look, You can't be making like, okay, there was even an issue that Akpabio brought to the fore, talking about the level of insecurity. That he said that, well, the opposition is crying that the executive is that President Tinubu is responsible for the volume of insecurity in this country, but because he's not dealing with it. Is it a lie? Why do you play politics
with everything?
Look, I expect the National Assembly to be asking questions every time. What is going on in
to be mounting pressure on the executive to be grounded. Because now we are not just losing citizens anymore, we are losing troops.
We are losing everything. We are losing the country. There was a time when the terrorists began to hoist their flags in parts of this country.
Yes.
We are losing Nigeria. We cannot be joking with all of these things.
Let me ask Dr. Segun Akere. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm with you.
How can Nigerians, how can they hold their lawmakers accountable, and why is it so not common, to see recalls? Nigerians have hardly recalled anybody except Abba and others who had activities on camera that people, that went viral, and people called for their heads and all of that. We hardly see
in fact, even that was sponsored by the executive, because Abba was not doing the bid of the government
of the government of the day then. So
otherwise, look, let me tell you. Sorry, Dr. Akere, let me conclude my thoughts on this. Let's look at the last screening by the National Assembly.
Take a bow and go.
As a matter of fact, they have constituted themselves into laws. How will you, because somebody is a member of the National Assembly, you tell him to take a bow and go?
He has not explained why he came.
Let's even leave that. Let's go to the people. For instance, the minister of something technology or so. How did he escape screening of the National Assembly? How? You see, if people like El Rufai were stopped because of the reports by the DSS, what happened to the Minister of Technology? That professor, that Igbo man.
So I think the professor was not under this administration. The professor was under Buhari's administration.
No. The professor that had to resign a few months ago. That was sometime last year.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the one that was said to be financing.
No, not that one. I mean the guy who had
the recent one,
who is a professor and they said had no certificate. How? Look, you see,
that they had to send a message to Insuka to confirm whether he completed or not.
It's Nigeria a joke?
Mr. Akim Abodide, we take that as your final, take on this particular topic.
No, I've said
basically before we pick from home. Dr. How can Nigerians, because a lot of Nigerians are tired of the big grammar, English, back and forth between lawmakers and the executive. Now we hardly see recalls. What constitutes the process of a simple recall, and what do we get to that Nigerians can say, hey, hello, you are representing us, we are not seeing you, you don't come home, we don't see your work, come and sit down, let somebody who is active go and represent us, either state or national.
The problem is the constitution itself. The constitution made recall of members of the House
difficult.
Assembly,
but Natasha was almost recalled the last time.
I was coming to that.
Okay.
And that was what the constitution was also trying to protect. That before you recall anybody, it must be collective and joint
effort
decision of almost everybody in that community, in that constituency, or in that central district. Otherwise, Natasha would have been removed, if not for the constitution protection he enjoyed.
If recall was easy.
So that is the problem that is there. But I think that's something I would have recommended if I have the means of amending the constitution, that the legislative duty should not be made full-time appointment, except for the Senate president, the majority leader, minority leader. Every other member should be on part-time basis.
Dr. Akeredolu, you can actually be a part of the structure that will remove that will amend the constitution. I think you should contest to be in the National Assembly.
I think we started the discussion from there, and I'm not joking about that.
Okay.
Don't forgetting the fact that Glo happened or won or was awarded the best radio station in Nigeria, those states last year. So I think that is a focal point, and it's something we should begin to think about and to see how we can do it. Let's start the discussion.
All right, very quickly, Dr. Akure Dolu, just before you go, yes, because I have these questions that I've been begging for answers. You did say that this present National Assembly has done the needful, but I just want to ask you, can you please give us... Are you rescinding on what you said? You said this present...
No, what I'm saying, you asked me to compare two National Assembly, and I compared and said that
this is better.
You don't judge them by what they've done. But if you are judging them by what they have done that is new, then that this National Assembly has introduced a lot of new bills. And I gave you some of them. I gave you one of them was CAC Act, one was a police. I'm not very sure when Police Act was passed now, the new Police Act. Then we also have what's it called that was passed in 2004 or 2023, the arbitration and reconciliation
tax law adjustment.
That one was actually a member's bill that introduced that. Then they also introduced student loan bill. They introduced Niger Delta, another Southwest Commission, and the others introduced a lot of commissions. And those commissions too, they are private big laws. They also introduced Electoral Act. Electoral Act, a lot of people.
I guess he actually got off with that. That was Dr. Segun Akeredolu, a legal savvy and a public affairs analyst, who's also been speaking to a media executive and public affairs analyst, Mr. Akiumi Abodude. We're going to have a few calls before we leave the studio, just one or two before we go. Studio lines are open 0805 551 1110. We have one already. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Morning. What's your name?
My name is Tosin. I'm calling from Bongo.
Please go ahead.
Very quickly, 1 minute.
Oh, please, I thank your Mr. Akiumi. I just he's a veteran journalist. I thank him that he still maintains his stances and knowing since in OSRC day. God bless him, sir. God bless you, sir.
Amen.
Then I disagree with Mr. Dr. Dulu. Can you imagine this? Since I'm old now, I think I'm alive when Chagari was there, Chagari regime. Up to now, this is the worst Senate I've ever seen in my life.
But Dr. Akeredolu just gave you a number of activities done well by the current.
Let me learn, sir.
Please go ahead.
Let me learn. Can you imagine? We want to borrow 9 trillion naira. What affects you, my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren? Within 24 hours was passed. I've never heard it in the whole world that we want to borrow money within 24 hours. 9 trillion, that would be the last one they will pass. Since this regime, the man has removed subsidy. This man has borrowed over 120 something trillion. And this house, the one that removed subsidy, they've plunged Nigeria, our children, our great grandchildren.
So you disagree? So you disagree that the current house in the national should not have allowed subsidy to be removed when they were not aware, they were not going to use it well?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Because why? You remove subsidy. You know that this college regime, they've borrowed more than 80 Buhari spent 8 years.
Combined,
what they borrow now is more than that. And you have a demand that said on your mandate. Have you heard in the whole world that the house will be single on your mandate will stand? Have you heard it in the whole world?
In an assembly.
This is the worst Senate I've ever seen.
Thank you very much.
Let's fear God. Let's say the truth always.
Well,
God bless that veteran journalist.
Thank you.
You always say the truth.
Thank you very much. Let's hope that the fear of God, like I've said, we lead our politicians, and not just the politicians, comfort those who vote them in as well. Because see, if you are part of the enablers of something, when those actors are taking, the criticism, those who enable them should also take part of that. That would be the size of the program Glow Focus for today. It's been a swell time. Thank you to those who dropped comment on Facebook, who shared the video, and those also who tried to call us who were not able to get in, and those who have called. We've spoken to Dr. Segun Akeredolu and also media executive Mr. Akiumi Abodude. Tomorrow is another day. We'll return with Glow Focus from 10 a.m. till 12 noon. My name is Mike Alim Obafemi. Many thanks and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much for being part of our World of Sound. Until the program returns tomorrow. A very big thank you to our executive producer, Dr. Ezekiel Akonde, and to our producer, Akinwumi Abodunde. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Comfort Omolafe. Bye for now.